So today we welcome Joe and Gail Martino, longtime patrons and really servants of Canton Symphony Orchestra. And just want to thank you for coming and sharing your experience about the Canton Symphony with us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
My first question is, what was your first experience with the Canton Symphony?
Wow.
We got involved 13 or 14 years ago when a then board member, our beloved Joan Gillespie, came to me because I was the Stark County Educational Service Center Fine Arts Coordinator, and she was interested in having somebody be on the board that had a connection to Stark County teachers. So I resisted only because my schedule was crazy, my life was full. She didn't give up. I came to board meetings. I started attending regularly symphony events. Joe started coming with me, and we were hooked. We were just hooked.
Right.
And at that time, basically what there was to attend were some educational programs and the Masterworks concerts, not like all the fun things we have now. So we got kind of thrown in a classical world that we really weren't part of, but that grabbed us.
Yeah, like Gail said, once we started coming, we were hooked, and we really loved going to the symphony and all the different things that are going on.
Why do you support this organization, and why do you keep supporting?
Wow, good question. We love the symphony. I mean, like we said, we were immediately hooked on coming to the symphony, and then now there are so many more things we can do besides the Masterworks concerts. We can do all the Pops concerts and the Divergent series, and so there's so many diverse things that we can do with the symphony that are really fun.
And we both recognize what it does to a community to have a symphony the caliber of the Canton Symphony Orchestra, that so many people still are surprised the first time they come. But it is such a gem in Stark County, in Canton. And we encourage, we are always bringing new friends, giving away tickets, telling people about things. Our community needs this too. I mean, that's really from the heart. We get that.
Gail and I have gone to the symphony all over the country. We've gone to the Cleveland Symphony several times. We've gone to Chicago Symphony. We've gone to the Philadelphia Symphony. And I think the Canton Symphony is just as good as any of those. And it's right here in our town, which is really cool.
So what would you say is your favorite part about what we do? I know it's hard to pick a favorite.
I think the diversity for me is, not only the events of the Masterworks, which are really, really amazing, but then, like I said, you have local artists that get together with the symphony and the Divergent series, and then you have the Pops concerts where the symphony plays with professionals that come in and do cover shots of things like Prince and ABBA, and I think we have Fleetwood Mac coming up. Those are also fun, as much as the Masterworks.
It's a really hard question. I don't have a favorite, but one thing that I have just always loved, as crazy as this is, I love the Kinder concert. I love to see 500 3, 4, 5-year-olds come and scooch down on the floor in the Civic Center or wherever it takes place and sit there for 40 minutes with their eyes wide open. And I think that's thrilling. I think it's wonderful. For many of those kids, that's their absolute first time. And that, I hate to say that's their last time, but until we can interest them again when they're much older. But there's just something real goosebumpy about that.
And I'll never forget the early Kinder concerts that we went to where I did a painting demonstration during the performance. That was so cool. I still have pictures of that, and I'll always remember that. That was, how many years ago?
At least 10.
10 or 15 years ago. Yeah.
So you've been with us a long time. What does it mean to be part of the CSO community?
It's kind of like being part of history when you stay with it long enough and you watch musicians come and go, composers, conductors, staff members, even people in the organization and those performing. And then you realize, how many years? 85 years, 86 years, I think the symphony has been a symphony. It's nice to be a part of keeping that going. And the more we're involved, the more I realize how much it's important for all of us to be a piece of that and watch it change and watch it grow. And I've especially been honored to be able to be on the board and to be able to help in a real tangible way to help move that along. It's very, very important to me, to us.
Yeah, the first thing I think of when I think of your question is the fact that I think of the CSO as my family. The amazing, young, vibrant people like you that are running the symphony, they're so talented. The talented musicians, which are amazing, again, the best musicians in the country. And we have also gotten to know many of the musicians. We sometimes host some traveling musicians that come into town, and they stay at our house for the weekend, and we have grown to love them, and they still communicate with us, even those that have moved out of the area and are no longer playing for the Scranton Symphony. We still hear from them.
So now we just have to travel to hear them in different cities,
Right.
which
Yes.
we're already
I think of the
starting
CSO
to do.
as an amazing family.
Yeah.
So it's a really wonderful part of our life, I think.
So how does classical music make you feel?
Wow.
Well, it depends on what it is. Some of it makes me feel spiritual, and especially the older it is that I listen to something that was composed a couple hundred years ago. Occasionally we get some really older pieces. So some of it makes me feel that life is short, and here we are listening to something that people did generations ago. I don't know. But
I know it's a hard question. How does it make me feel? That's tough. It's just an amazing feeling when you have that huge symphony creating all of those goosebumpy kind of vibrations that are just amazing.
And
It's hard to put
we
into
don't
words.
have either one of us backgrounds in classical music other than what we've listened to. And I probably listened to more growing up than you did, but not much more. So we came as real novices, listening, learning, coming sometimes to hear the pre-concert talks. I always read the program, so I have a little bit of a background if it's a piece I've never heard of or a conductor or composer that I don't know. So we're just learning it as we go, and that's the biggest thing for me, which was maybe why I resisted at first, that I thought, well, I can't be on the symphony board. I'm not an expert. I don't know enough. I have just realized it's more about appreciation than it is about background or knowledge, and anybody can be a part of that.
Absolutely.
I sometimes listen to symphonic music in my studio, and it does affect how I think of things and how I even loosen up and become more creative. And so I guess that's also an important part of my life.
All right. So finally, what would you like anyone listening to know about the Canton Symphony?
For somebody who's never attended, it will open your world. You'll meet new people, you'll hear new things. You can just kind of get lost for that period of time, whether it's a jazz performance or a trio at a Stark Parks event in the summer, whatever it is. It's something to not be missed. I think most of the things we do are free, I believe. So there's an opportunity for everybody. And I would just say, if you have never experienced any of the events, just do it. It'll enrich your life.
Yeah,
It's really enriched ours.
I think the Canton Symphony is a top-notch organization, from management all the way down to the amazing musicians that they employ. I know we have a amazing symphony in Cleveland. I think the Canton Symphony is just as good, just as fun to go to events, and so yeah, I would think it's a top-notch organization.
Thank you for coming in today and sharing your story with us. And for anyone listening, we hope that you come check us out.